In the heart of Houston's Fifth Ward, Marcus was a legend. A young white man with gold teeth that flashed every time he smiled, a swagger that turned heads, and a candy-painted '84 Caprice that shimmered like a sunrise. His rims spun even when the car stopped, a metaphor for his life. Always moving, always shining. Marcus wasn't just a fixture in the hood, he was a lifeline. He'd help families pay their rent, drop groceries off to single mothers, and make sure the local kids had fresh kicks for school. Marcus got us, they'd say, and they meant it. He carried the respect of the streets like a king, but he wasn't just a hustler. He was a helper. He thrived in the world he'd built, basking in the love that surrounded him. One crisp November afternoon, as he leaned against his car, tossing a basketball with a group of neighborhood kids, an old black woman approached him. She was small, but carried herself like she owned the street. Her dark eyes pierced his soul. "Excuse me, young man," she began, her voice calm but commanding. "You got a moment?" Marcus straightened, flashing his gold-toothed grin. "What's good, ma'am? You need something?" She looked him over, not impressed by the shine or swagger. "You do a lot for these people, don't you?" "I do what I can," he replied, pride in his tone. She nodded. "That's good. But let me ask you something, Marcus." She paused. "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?" The words hit him harder than any punch he'd ever taken. His grin faded, and he looked away, suddenly uncomfortable. "I know you mean well," she continued, "but you ever stop and think about where you're headed? What's all this for if you lose yourself in the end?" Marcus swallowed hard, the kids' laughter around him fading into the background. He turned to respond, but when he looked back, the woman was gone. Just gone. He scanned the block, but there was no sign of her. The moment felt surreal, like a dream. For the first time in years, Marcus felt small, vulnerable. That night, he sat alone in his car, staring at the dashboard, his life replayed in his mind, his triumphs, his mistakes, the people he'd helped, and those he'd hurt. He thought about the woman's words, about his soul, about his purpose. "Need help," Marcus thought to himself. "I need to change." Yup, tomorrow's smirk. Marcus got to his girl house. He went inside. They start missing each other, and all of a sudden Marcus see the old woman and pushes his girl away. The lady was a shapeshifter, and her tongue was long and eyes dark and evil. She screamed, "Time's up." "Give me that booty!" Marcus screamed and ran out the house. Marcus was able to get away, and he gave his life to Jesus. He started a community center, helped kids stay off the streets, and shared his story with anyone who'd listen. The Caprice still shined, but the man behind the wheel had a new glow, a light that came from within. Some say the old woman was an angel sent to guide him. Others think she was just a wise soul passing through. But Marcus knew her all too well that night, never saw her again, though her words and tongue stayed with him forever.